Hi guys, this is Sarah from Weird Horizon Podcast, and you are listening to Bigfoot Club Podcast.
Hey guys, please go to our website at www.bigfootclubpodcast.com. Check out all our merch and all our old episodes. Also, please look for our social media on Twitter, Facebook, on Instagram at Bigfoot Club, the number 1. Also, check out Matt Knapp's Bigfoot Crossroads. He is on all platforms. If you have any paranormal or Bigfoot stories, please email us at bigfootclub1@gmail.com.
Hey everybody, Blair Dominguez. This is Bigfoot Club Season 5, Episode 4, and I'm here with Robert.
Uncle Robert,
Rara, and my husband, Steven Dominguez.
Hello.
Hey guys, how's it going?
That was pretty good.
Hey.
It was pretty good.
Just roll it.
Yeah, we're actually doing a show pretty late on a Friday night, so
We usually do it like around between 7 and 9.
yeah,
Seven and 9?
somewhere around there.
Oh.
That's a beer.
Chris.
I got him to drink alcohol, y'all.
Oh.
I do have to say, I have only
sucks.
drank alcohol.
Whatever.
She's coming out right now. This is breaking news.
Hi, I'm Blair. I'm an alcoholic. No. I stopped drinking because of ulcers and stomach issues.
Yeah.
Like a year and a half ago.
Mm-hmm.
But it's St. Patrick's Day, and
She did have a drink.
I did have a drink today. It was the weirdest thing, but it tasted really good. It was tequila and Bailey's and I think
ice cream,
cream de menthe.
Right. Okay.
So, it was
called
creamy.
The Irish Kiss.
The Irish Kiss is what I drank today.
And I took a sip out of it, and I got nothing but Bailey's. And I was like, oh, that tastes kind of sweet. But I don't taste the alcohol. I pushed the straw down further, and I drank it, and then bam!
It hit you?
It hit.
Like, whoa!
Yeah, since I don't drink all the time, even though, Robert wants to say I do, it kind of...
It's
I
Robert,
buzzed real
me,
fast.
Matt's on it now.
Yeah, there's a running joke that we always say that you're an alcoholic, and we all joke that you're not. But
Yep.
And it's
Crazy addicted to Dr. Pepper and once nicotine, but now off nicotine. So Dr. Pepper and probably bad food is my thing.
Well, you're official a Dominguez then, so
yeah,
because that's what we do.
Dominguez is Spanish for bad food.
Yeah,
bad food is Spanish. Wait, what? I'm so confused.
But we reverse that because we want to keep the Dominguez family here.
Yeah,
Don't want to,
right. So what's going on? I know this is we kind of did this preempted thing about getting you on. We did it at the last minute because I wanted to do a show, but wasn't sure what I wanted to do, and I just asked Steven. I said, "Hey, ask Blair if she wants to come on." And
Queen of random.
Yeah. I mean,
so,
we talk about random stuff.
Yeah, we do. Speaking of random stuff, let's talk about
The Last of Us.
The Last of Us.
Oh,
so I know you guys saw the finale, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Recently, so because we didn't really touch on the whole season. I think when we talked on the first episode, maybe.
Yeah, I think it was the first episode. And
So, you guys want to talk about that, or
sure, yeah, Blair can get on it too because
you watched
I
it.
watched it.
You
Yep.
watched it.
I really liked it. I did not think I would like a post-apocalyptic show, but it was really good.
This before we go any further, if you haven't seen The Last of Us,
Oh yeah, spoilers.
stop the podcast, go watch it.
Spoiler alert.
We always do that, right? We always talk about stuff, but we do it we say spoiler alert later.
Yeah, after we already said major plot. Oh, yeah, spoiler alert. Super late.
That's the way we do stuff, dude.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So,
for sure.
So I know this was, like I said before, this was a game. I actually watched you play this.
Mm-hmm.
So I know you didn't get a chance to watch Steven play this, Blair, but
No.
She's watching it now sometimes.
Remastered and
remake.
way better
Yeah.
graphics.
Yeah. She was like, hey, this scene looks familiar. That's how great it is.
Yeah, they followed it so close to the game.
They did. I mean, there's some aspects to the show that you can't, you have to change along like with the game because like in gameplay, there's like, I don't know. There's just like, you don't really get to see like the background stuff or backstories and stuff like that. But with the show, there's so much backstory. And I don't know. I really, really enjoyed this past season because it was, because, like sometimes I'm not saying you guys, but I'm saying like me in the past, it's kind of hard for me to talk about my feelings in the past. And so this show was kind of like that. I mean, because like Joel Miller, he's kind of like, because he lost his daughter, right? And he's not really wanting to open up to anybody. So he's kind of just keeps everything at the vest. So I'll let you guys talk about that too. So I mean, whatever you want to go with it. So
we get to what I loved how they did this on the show, and they really didn't do it. Well, they kind of like implemented it on the game, but it's hard to decipher. But on the very beginning, you see Joel lose his daughter.
Right.
The apocalypse happens or whatever. Outbreak.
Sarah
dies in his arms, and he
crush your heart.
It crushed your soul, your heart again. If you're a gamer and you were like, God dang it, they followed it so well, but I'm gonna cry. And then after that, it shows, was it 23 years later? He's in like a Boston quarantine zone. And you can tell how dead he is inside. He is literally that child that they show that she finally makes it to the quarantine zone, but she's infected. And they kill her, obviously. And then he picks up her body and throws her in the fire, and with no remorse.
Right. Because like the first worker was having a hard time doing it. Did
you
see that?
She walked away.
She couldn't do it.
And then he did it. That's to show how dead he was inside.
Right.
And as it progresses through the season, you see that life, like spark comes out of him, love comes out of it, and they did that so well on the show. I think they did that better than they did it on the game. Yeah. Because the game, you already know what's going on, and you're playing and all this stuff, you're crafting stuff and all that, and yeah, they did a really, really good job of adapting that from the game to the show and made it aware. Like if you catch on, he was dead inside. Yeah, no, like the only thing he cared about was himself, Tess, and Tommy. That was it. Right. Anybody else in that quarantine zone that he had friends with, you can tell he wasn't really friends with anybody. So I liked how they did that. Right. I don't know if you saw anything that you liked on the show, or especially on the first episode.
Well, I do recall you playing the game. It's such a fast-paced game. It's a fast-paced game, and then like with the show, they have time like to pause, like after like each episode, they can pause and then continue the story, and then like continue on, because like with the game, you have to save it, right? Yeah, and then go on, and you have other stuff to do, and it's just so different, and which I loved about it, because they have time to stop and see like a scene, or whenever like she wakes up and from episode 1, and then Joel and Tess are just watching her, like they're watching her sleep, like to see if like she's gonna turn, but she doesn't. I thought it was funny, because you wouldn't get that probably like in the game, maybe. I don't know so much, but
no, that wasn't on the game, especially that part where I already passed it right now, so it's fresh in my mind. No, they didn't. They didn't do that. What did you think about it?
I thought that they did really good with the love stories and the love connections, because there can be, felt like they made it more genuine. You just related so well to whether it was the girl and the best friends. Remind me the names.
Are you talking about Ellie?
Ellie and
Riley.
Riley. Yes. Riley. So they did that really well. It wasn't. I just felt like the love stories were really there. Yes. The connection between the dad and the daughter, and then how he finally looked at her like his daughter and made that relation, because he was so closed off, and then he finally opened up. Right. And so it felt genuine. It didn't feel fake. The acting, amazing.
It was.
They both deserve Grammys and Oscars and whatever for all of it.
This would probably be a Grammy, right? Because it's a show.
No, Emmy. Grammys are music.
Oh, okay, that's right.
Yeah.
I messed that up too.
I mean, Pedro can probably sing. So.
But yeah, I mean, like, I love a good love story. Love a good love story. But it's that's what hit me the most is how genuine that was.
You're so right, because like love drives everybody, whether you're going to do something good, do something bad, because like, you know, Joel's character was, you know, his daughter. He loved his daughter, lost her. And so his next thing like to love was Tommy, his brother, and then Tess. And then eventually he fell in love with Bella, which is, you know, Ellie and stuff. Yeah. And so even those, you hit it right on the nail about love. Love drives us all to do things, whether they're moral or immoral. And like this whole show was just full of that.
Yep.
So
because you get it from the very first episode, whenever the outbreak is happening, they're in the car, they're safe. Tommy wants to pull over and save another family, and Joe goes, no. He goes, someone else will come along. Yeah. He goes, they got kids, so do we. Like his priority is Tommy or Sarah, and then Tommy. That's it.
I kind of forgot this. Was Joe and Tommy in the military? Were their characters?
Tommy was in the military. I don't think Joel was. Okay. If I remember correctly, then even that, I don't think they really touched base on that in the game.
How did he learn how to shoot so well and do all the stuff that he does? So
he's from Texas. He's from Texas.
He's from Texas. Yeah, it's you're both right. The love aspect of it was
great, wasn't it?
Great.
Yeah, I think
it's scary. It's so relatable. It's scary because I would do that. I would do the same thing. I would do that. I would handle this situation just like that because I mean, when the outbreak happens, if there was an outbreak here, I would just worry about the people in this apartment.
Right.
That's pretty much.
Yeah, makes you think about in life who's your crew.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Who are you? Who's your parentheses? Who is in your inner circle, and who's an acquaintance?
I would have loved to see the backstory for like Tess, because I know in the game you get a little bit of backstory, right?
With Tess, actually, no, you don't.
Really,
you don't. It's she's there. You kind of get the idea that they're a love interest, but they never really focus on that. And she was robbed.
They were all about business. It seemed like it, but they were together because like whenever he was laying down, she got behind him and hugged him. And so it kind of gave you the impression.
Never happened in the game though.
Really,
that part never happened in the game.
So how do you assume in the game that they were together?
The bad guy that she's after, Robert.
Yeah, the one who stole the battery.
Yeah, the one that's on the game. He says, "Oh, you got Boston's power couple here." Like there were just little hints like that they were together.
Okay,
and you just had to pick up on it. So, especially after she dies, Ellie's all like, "Hey, I know you two were a thing." He was like, "Ellie, you're treading on mighty thin ice here. You don't talk."
I love that scene too. I love that scene. It was such a good scene.
Yeah, it's that scene where they're at Jackson and Joel. Before I start there, one thing I loved about this is that they humanized Joel on the show. On the game, they made him such a badass that he didn't show feelings or other that. He just showed it because he saw parts.
Yeah, he saw that one girl that looked like Sarah. Yeah, and then like she walked over to like a little girl, and then like you can see where he leans against the pole, like his heart is hurting, or is he having anxiety or something?
Yeah.
But,
yes.
So you're right about that.
They show that they humanize him to where he has panic attacks, he has anxiety, he's worried, he's already here at that point on that episode. He knows that he's attached to Ellie, but he doesn't want to openly admit it. But he kind of does to Tommy, saying, "I can't fail her again. I don't want to." Lose her. Can you take her because I can't do it. I can't do it anymore.
And then but Tommy tells him that he's got a family coming.
He's got he's going to be a dad.
Right.
So
so he kind of hints to Joel there about, I forgot what verbiage he used, but he said, hey, I got to live my life, or I got to prepare for a family, and it kind of hurt Joel.
Yeah.
A little,
because his daughter was taken away,
Right.
his child was taken
Right.
away, and then here now they get to have that. He gets to have that chance. And
So
he
it's
doesn't
like a
have
jealousy in a way.
that. Yeah, it is jealousy,
Because Tommy has moved on, he hasn't.
and he just keeps losing people.
So the scene where, you know, he tells Ellie that, you know, hey, I'm ditching you. Tommy's going to take you from here on out. And she gets upset. She gets upset because at that moment in time too, Ellie has looked to him as a father figure, and she's attached to him too as well. So they're both like, she wants him, he doesn't want her, he doesn't want them.
Yeah.
So it's
she's like a chatterbox in the very beginning. She tries to ask him about the puns, ask him about the code for the song and the music, and she kind of tricks him into, hey, what was the song that played? And he goes, what was the song? Wake Me Up Before You Go Go? And he goes, oh man,
yeah.
There was
So
meaning
it is bad.
for that.
yeah,
Yeah. Or behind that, there's
Yeah.
meaning behind that song.
80s music is bad,
right,
real bad.
Was it that way like in the game?
It wasn't music. It was like codes.
Oh, okay.
So it was like I forgot what codes were there. Damn it! I passed that part already.
Right.
Because I was like, it's different. Yeah, that's right. But no, it wasn't music.
Because the showrunner, what's his name? The guy that does the game, what's his name? Neil
Druckmann.
Yeah, he's really into music. Mm-hmm. He's really into music. So every song had a meaning behind it, or something that he felt strong about, which I kind of liked a lot. So
It's funny how they used "Take on Me" on this one because "Take on Me" was on part 2.
Was it really?
Yeah, Ellie plays it on the guitar and she says, "Joel taught me." This is one of the first songs Joel taught me. On
Love
the
that
guitar.
song. Love that song.
Great song.
Yeah,
80s music.
it's good. It's good. At my job, they've got speakers, the surround sound, and they'll put 80s music and blast it, and those are just the tunes. Everybody knows them.
If Juan was on this podcast, he'd be so pissed right now.
He doesn't like 80s music?
He just doesn't like music and shows and movies.
Oh.
Because he would just say, I just want to watch the fucking show. That's what it say.
He goes, yeah, you guys will talk about the soundtrack and the meaning behind the song of the scene. And I'm all like, but that's okay.
I want to put the Ted Lasso theme song as my ringtone.
Oh, that just came out this week too.
Yes. Such
Another
a
good one.
good show.
You know it's good. You know it's good whenever I pick that over Mandalorian.
Yes, it is.
I was like, Ted Lasso's coming. It's already
Did you
on.
watch it already, Robert?
Yeah, I watched it. I was telling Steven I watched The Mandalorian first, Ted Lasso second, and I watched AEW wrestling after that. So I was proud of myself. I caught everything. I caught up with everything. So
Yeah, I still haven't watched this week's of Mandalorian. I'm ashamed of myself, but
You haven't watched this week's wrestling, babe?
no.
You need to catch up.
So behind on the stories.
yeah, storylines are so.
I mean, if it's Roman Reigns, I'm down.
That's
He
he's in
hasn't.
WWE.
He hasn't been on this. He hasn't been on the last couple of weeks. I mean, I think he was on last week.
Is he in Romania?
I know. No.
Is he
Something
stuck
about
in-
the black hair, the black beard.
I don't know what you're talking about. I don't have. This is brown.
Steven doesn't have black hair or black beard. Never.
No.
But I'm sure we don't want to spoil Ted Lasso and The Last of Us.
Yeah,
but
Ted Lasso can be for another.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it just started, so we can do The Last of Us because it's already
Yeah.
over. So, but what else? What else you guys want to talk about on these shows?
The Last of Us. One thing I want to point out is that I had a nerdgasm for. There was 3 moments. Nerdgasms. I call them nerdgasms.
Right.
The first episode, spot on, exactly. The only thing that was different was them adding the beginning part where those 2 scientists are talking, and it's like in the 60s. or
yeah,
something.
it was that scientist, one guy that you really like. What's his name? That actor. That one that's on Supernatural, and
He's on,
Hell on Wheels.
Hell on Wheels. He's on there, but the other guy, the other one that's smoking and talking about the cordyceps,
He was on The Mummy.
he was on the Mummy. He was the brother.
Yeah.
So that episode, the other episode that I had a nerdgasm on was the not Jackson, where they meet. Oh God, Dave. That episode with Dave, where he's the preacher and he's
and Joel. I can't think of the guy's name, but he the one actor that played Joel in the game.
He plays James on his right-hand man.
Right. Dave's right-hand man.
That whole episode is about Ellie being by her own, surviving on her own, and knowing that throughout the whole season until that point, she has a dark heart. She has a dark past, and she can be violent.
Right.
They kept hinting that, and it shows on fully at the very end where David gets a little too cocky, and he underestimates her, and she goes full on. On the game, it was a machete,
right?
But this one's a cleaver, and she just kept going, screaming, and I go, do it 10 times, because it was 10 times, and it was like 10, 11 times. She just kept going, And I was like, okay. The only thing that was different that I liked is that they showed her get out of the building, like trying to process what just happened, and then Joel sneaks up behind her. He doesn't sneaks up, but he grabs her, and she's like freaking out, and he's like, "It's me, and then he says,
baby girl.
He says, "Baby girl." That right there was very important.
Yeah.
If he did not say that, I would have been so pissed. But "baby girl" is so powerful because that's what he called Sarah. So that just signified right there. It's like, yep, that he sees her as a daughter. He loves her, and that right there. And then the nerdgasm was the final episode because it was exactly
the way it was,
exactly how it ended. And him going all out in the hospital. And
they did set it up for part 2, or they didn't set it up for part 2?
Yes,
they did
set it up for part 2.
Yes,
but
everyone's like, "That's a good thing." Mm-hmm.
You and I talked off show about this.
Yes,
and it's like.
And I like how you're like very hopeful and everything. I just know Neil Druckmann. He's going to be.
I'm just
going to making money, but let's stick to the story.
I'm saying, he wants to stick to the story, and I get it. Mm-hmm. But if they harm Pedro, that's like suicide, man. It's like he's so beloved right now.
I know.
He's like the number one
daddy.
He's
literally the number one daddy right now. He is the Mandalorian, and he's Joel Miller.
Yeah,
and he is
he can do no wrong right now.
He can't. He really.
America loves a good man.
Yes,
a good.
I love
wholesome
Latin man.
That's what you're trying to say.
Well, like you think about Rip too. I'm switching shows, but. I mean, it's not really that they're just like smoking drop dead gorgeous. It's not that. It's their genuine personalities. They're loving. Doing the right thing.
I liked him when he was on he's playing what's his name, Oberyn Martell on Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah, Game of Thrones. Yeah,
I loved him on that.
Yeah, he was.
I didn't know who he was, but I loved him.
Yeah.
In Mandalorian, you don't really see his face, right?
Right.
So
there's a few scenes where
he takes off the helmet.
So definitely, obviously, it's better to see his face, but that's part of the story with Mandalorian.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he was believable on Game of Thrones of being a badass.
Yep.
And so whenever the Mandalorian came out, I didn't know who it was, and you told me who it was. He says,
"That's Pedro Pascal."
Yeah, Pedro Pascal from Game of Thrones. I said, "Oh my god, that's so fucking awesome!" Because I loved him in that. I was so heartbroken whenever his eyes were gouged out by the mountain and stuff. So it was wicked.
It was the mountain like punched him in the face, knocked out all his teeth, got on top of him, put his thumbs in his eyes, and squeezed his head.
Oberyn was beating him.
Yeah, Oberyn was beating him.
And he could have won, but he was boasting. And
he was. Yeah.
But he was saying like on the interview that day, whenever he died, he had the mountain had some tubing of blood. So when he was grabbing his face,
and all the blood
come out. He said that day was so hot, laying on the concrete with all that cold blood, because it felt so great.
Yeah, he's like, I pretended. He goes, I pretended to be dead, but really I was asleep.
That reminds me of what movie was it with Leonardo DiCaprio and
that was their movie.
It was one of those movies where he died. Probably.
The ship went down. No,
Titanic.
No, not that one.
I
was joking.
Oh, okay.
You knew I was joking.
Was I?
Yes, I was. What? Anyways. So what I'm trying to say is the bear attacked him so bad that people were like, "Don't watch this because it's so gruesome and gory. You're not going to be able to handle it." And so that just, when you were talking about that with him, that's what it reminded me of.
Yeah.
Of people just being like, "Whoa, that scene is really
That
intense."
that was really gruesome.
That's a great movie, though.
It is a great movie.
Man, that would be a good movie to watch in 4K.
Oh my goodness, digital. Do not buy another DVD or Blu-ray.
Hey, I like collecting Blu-ray stuff. I miss doing that. Anyway,
Everything's in the
we're
cloud.
We're not gonna talk about my obsession on my PS5.
It's okay.
But yeah, The Revenant. Yeah, that's when he won a Oscar finally. Finally, yes. God damn, me and Jabron were like, it just took a fucking bear attack. He should have been attacked by a bear 7 movies ago.
And he had to kill Tom Hardy.
That was such a great movie, man. I don't care what anybody says. It was shot beautifully. The acting was just amazing. The bear was amazing.
I feel like y'all watched that at the duplex.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we did.
Yep.
Because I think I want to say we rented it. I think we rented it.
Probably, yeah.
And then, Jabron happened to be over and we were watching it. That was whenever we watched that, and we watched Patriots Day.
Yes.
And Patriots Day was like
amazing.
We watched 2 great movies that day, and we were just chilling.
I can just say, what's his name? J.K. Simmons.
Yeah.
It left an impression on me on that movie.
That's such a great movie.
I love
Did you ever
that
see
part.
that one?
I don't think so.
With Mark Wahlberg?
It was about the Boston bombing.
No, I didn't.
Oh
never
my
watched
God,
that
it's
one.
such a fucking great movie.
I can't even say the 1992 on that one.
No, you cannot.
I watched it back in 1992.
too.
Yeah.
That was Blair's diss to us when we were talking about old movies.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you remember 3 Men and a Baby? Yeah, in 89, but I was born in 91. No.
Did you ever see The Godfather? Yeah, back in 1992.
It's hard to remember movies after that.
Did you ever watch Big Daddy? Yeah, back in 1992. It didn't come out in 1992.
No, Big Daddy is forever in my head.
But that's her saying.
Yeah.
So
Super Saiyan?
Yeah. So,
but yeah, Last of Us, how would you rank it?
I think right now it's probably, since Ted Lasso's on now, it's probably my number one show. Mm-hmm. My number one show. I've been telling everybody to watch it, and all my coworkers don't want to watch it because
why?
Because it's gameplay, and I think some of their boyfriends are playing it, and they don't want to. Watch. And I don't know, but I just said it's the best show.
Well, that's the way I was about Yellowstone. I was like, I'm not your country person.
While she's listening to country music.
I mean, I grew up in this city.
Right.
So I can't claim to be country. It was Oklahoma, so there are those country hints in there. Mm-hmm. And both of my set to grandparents, that's all they listened to was country music. But old westerns, those kind of movies and stuff, and I wasn't just a huge fan, but
right.
Yellowstone is an amazing show. 1883, 1923.
Yeah, those are all great.
All of those are amazing.
I love those. Those are all great, but I think The Last of Us is. I cried on the episode when Joe was trying to leave her with Tommy, and she was yelling back at him.
Yeah.
I cried then. I mean, it was so. It hurt me so much because they don't want to talk how they feel about each other, but their actions, it just.
Let's dig deeper into that.
Yeah.
Because you've taken care of children that are not your own.
Right.
And you've had that connection with kids that are broken and on a mental health side, that probably brings up a lot of trauma in you.
It did. It brought home a lot of stuff, and it hurt me because I was yelling at the TV. I go, just fucking tell her you love her, man. Just tell her you love her. Mm-hmm. And they won't do that. They won't say that to each other, but they'll do little hints on the very last the finale. Mm-hmm. He was talking because I know it wasn't like this in the game. The game
where he tried to kill himself.
Yeah, he hints.
I thought that was an amazing adding to the story
to humanize him
again because on the game, even on the game, I was like, damn, Joe, I know he lost his daughter, but damn, nothing really upsetted him,
right,
or anything like that. And
because it's hard to show emotion on a video game, right? Their face.
It really is, but you kind of just get the implication of it,
right?
What it was, the graphics then,
right?
You can see it a whole lot better now with the remake on the PS5.
Really?
That's crazy.
So like realistic. Like I was just like, man, this game is like a brand new fucking game. It's like a brand new fucking game. Like even the clickers look like the show clickers. Like it's just when they do the show where the part where because I messed up a couple times, if the clickers grab you one time, you can't fight it off. It's a done deal. You're dead.
Really?
So when they show the clickers grabbing Joel, they like take a bite and you can see like a big ass chunk like of neck meat, whatever, and you're just like, God dang, that is so gruesome. That is so gruesome.
Take it back to the just say I love you.
Right.
There's a lot of families out there that don't say that. Mm-hmm. It's implied because you're family, because you're blood, it's your dad, it's your mom, but there are so many families out there that do not say I love you to each other.
So the way they were doing it, because like in the very beginning, she was asking him questions about, hey, do you know where you're going? Hey, how'd you get that scar? Hey, you know, all this stuff. And he was like, you know, hey, you sure fucking asked a lot of questions. And then, like, toward the end, whenever they came off that one episode where she killed Dave, Joe was trying to talk to her. You know, he's saying, hey, I can, you know, if I find a guitar, I can show you how to play. And, you know, he was just trying to, you know, reach with her. That's the way he said, I love you.
Yeah.
And, like, she was like, she kind of just, until she ran into that badass giraffe. And,
okay, so I thought that was CGI. I was like, that's not a real giraffe.
Everything else was CGI.
The giraffe was real.
Yeah, that was from the Calgary Zoo, I think. Mm-hmm. Yeah. They had a name for it, but I forgot what it was.
But I want to jump in on that because you reminded me of this. Another thing that, you know, nerdism of it, nerdgasm, that scene where he's telling her, hey, I found that guitar in that RV.
Right.
It's all busted up. I can't. On the game, that does happen. He goes into an RV. There's a busted up guitar. He makes a, like, Ellie's not in the RV with him, but she's like, did you find anything? Oh, just a busted up guitar. And then while he's searching the RV, there's a skeleton on the ground, and there's 3 bodies in the bed covered up. And on a note on top of it, it says, I'm sorry that I did this. And I think we're going back to the love thing. Love makes you do scary things.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
He got infected. I think the father got infected, and he couldn't live with himself for his kids to live on without him because they were so young that he killed them. He killed them, and then he killed himself. So that right there was super dark, and I was like, oh my God, he talks about that. And you can see the RV too while he's walking by, and I was like, damn it. They referenced that. That is such a...
So... I wanted to like to lead into this. So toward the end of the finale, you know, because like they hint that Ellie she's special, right? Mm-hmm. She can't get infected, but I never knew. I don't think them as characters knew how they were going to take this ability of hers out of her.
Oh yeah.
And so she's going to have to die.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so Joe wakes up from getting hit, and you know what's her name?
Marlene.
Marlene has Ellie in getting prepped for surgery, and Joe wakes up, and you know once he wakes up, and she tells him, you know, hey, I don't want to be in debt with anybody but you, but you know, she's telling him that she can't, you know, that he can't see her. She doesn't say it, but she's gonna die.
Oh yeah, it's implied.
And so you knew right then and there that Joe was going to go Rick Grimes on them, and you just don't know when. And so I loved how they played like some really, really sad, soft music, and they were showing him like just gunning down everybody, and like he didn't give any fucks with anybody. If people gave up, he still shot him, and you know he goes in there, he shoots the doctor, and you know he doesn't shoot the nurses, and he picks up Ellie, and you know he leaves, and then Marlene stops him. So in the very end, you know she's gonna die, so Joel ends up saving her instead of saving the mankind. He prefers to save her because he can't. You know, he's already lost Sarah, he's already lost Tess. He pretty much lost Tommy because Tommy's living on his own now. So this is his whole world, and so he doesn't even hesitate at all. You know, and he goes full Terminator mode and just kills everybody, and then like he's driving back, and she's waking up from the surgery or the attempted surgery, and you immediately know that she indicates that he's lying. Because he told her, because, it turns out, a lot of other kids have it, and, and they got raided, so we barely got out of there, and she knows that he went, Terminator on everybody. So I just wanted to get y'all's view on that one.
Yeah, no, that's what happened, because there was a lot of the way they did the show is that how he was struggling to fight. He's old and he can't do what he used to do.
His left ear,
the left ear, because that's him. He messed that up. He's just not as fast, as strong as he was. He kept implementing that and telling Tommy that I'm not who I used to be. But it all clicks and comes back that episode. He doesn't miss a beat. Like, someone starts shooting at him, he dodges, he loads his gun, shoots him right then and there dead. Yeah. He doesn't miss. He's killing everybody that's in his way and does not stop until he goes to Ellie.
Yeah.
And even the doctor fucking pulls a knife. He's like, I won't let you take her.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
You deserve to die.
Yeah.
But
oh my gosh, don't say that.
I mean, he brought a knife to a gunfight.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
So, but I want to backtrack a little bit really quick, and I'm sorry that I'm doing this. But
no, you're good.
But he tells her before they go that, like, after the giraffe scene, he says, we don't have to do this. We can, we can just we just go back to Jackson and Tommy, and she says, no. After all, we like been through. Let's finish this. And he goes, okay.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't know at that time that
they were going to try to kill her,
right? So that just crushed me. So
and it's like, how can you take her from an infant,
right,
and be okay with that,
right?
Like that, because
she's strictly military. She thinks about mankind. So I was gonna pose this question on y'all. I was leading to that. So there's some people that saying, Joe should have saved mankind, and 99% of those people don't have kids. Okay,
yeah,
right.
So you guys have kids.
Mm-hmm.
What would you do in Joel's thing? Would you
the same exact thing?
Exactly.
The same exact thing.
So
there's nothing you wouldn't do for your kid.
And I love that about that scene, and that you guys are agreeing with me, because I would have done the same thing too.
See, even before, when I played the game, and this was before the show came out, it was before I even thought of it being a show. When I played the game, wasn't even a dad then. I guess I had dad instincts in me or whatever.
Right.
But you're natural.
It was just me growing attached to Ellie.
Yeah.
And her character and what they went through and all that stuff. I was like, no, fuck that. I'm not going to. No. So most people don't realize that. He's like, oh, he didn't save the world. He did. His world was Ellie.
Yep. Exactly.
And that's okay.
That's okay.
That's okay. Your parentheses, the people that mean the most to you, that can be your world.
Mm-hmm.
So she may have some, I don't know, I'm guessing here, she may have some resentment because she didn't get to choose whether she saves humanity or not.
Exactly what Marlene said at the end is exactly how it plays out, because eventually that truth comes out and she's not a fan of it.
Because she lied, or he lied.
And she treats Joel like shit, and
Wow.
But that's like all parents who have to lie to their kids, and then it comes out later.
And
it's like
resentment towards
lying to protect them, but then they get really mad, and so there's always that constant thought in your head: do I be honest with my children right now, or do I try to sugarcoat it right now?
Right. Did you like how I posed that question to you?
Yes, I had a feeling you were leaning towards that.
I mean, there's just situations every day. It's like, do I let my kids see this and expose them to this, or do I try to sugarcoat it?
That right there is exactly what I want to bring up the whole. Because I asked you in the very beginning, I had major anxiety with the school shootings.
Yeah.
And the boys were about to start school.
Yeah.
Like, I went to my therapist and I was like, I can't get rid of this fear. I can't get rid of this constant fear where I think that something's going to happen, and what am I going to do? How am I going to get to them in time? Because when something bad like that happens, every second feels like 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And so that whole thing where, doing anything to save your kids, it's there.
Oh yeah,
it's there.
Yeah.
It's in me. It's in Blair. I know it's in you.
Yeah,
like I know.
I know. You know that you're not my kid, but when
adopting counts.
Whenever you were choking, I I jumped, and I didn't even hesitate.
I choked on grilled cheese.
When? What age?
I was like 6 or 7.
Well, I mean, but cheese does that. It gets all stringy.
Yeah.
You can do the same thing on a cheese stick too.
Yeah.
Because especially mozzarella or it'll just string. And
it was just really cheesy.
I didn't hesitate at all.
When my mom comes in May, she's allowed to make as many grilled cheese as she wants because she can't eat them at Cassandra's house because of celiac disease.
Right.
Oh, she loves grilled cheese?
Yeah, my mom.
I wonder if she'll like my grilled cheese.
I bet she will. You make a mean grilled cheese, but my mom makes a mean grilled cheese too. So y'all can have a grilled cheese competition while she's here.
Sorry, Cassandra.
Love you, Cassandra, but we'll spoil her while she's here in May.
One thing I want to say before we move on from The Last of Us is that did you catch up on where Ellie's telling Joel, I guess time heals all wounds, and he looks at her with the most sincere love look.
Yeah,
it wasn't time that did it.
Is it that way, like in the game?
Yes.
Okay.
It's like it wasn't time that did it. It was you. Like, but
he didn't say you.
He didn't say you, but
it's implied.
It's there. It's there, and so that did. Like I said, this is probably the best video game to screen adaptation ever.
Probably ever will be.
And ever will be. And you know what sucks? What sucks is that Corey Balrog? He's the creator of God of War. Amazon wants to do a show with God of War taking place from these last 2 games. And he tweeted, he goes, The Last of Us did the most amazing adaptation, and the pressure is on now. Yeah, because he knows he has to bring the same thing how that happened in the games to screen, and I wonder how they're going to do that.
I was going to ask you, the girl that played Ellie in the video game is Ashley. What's her last name?
Miss Ashley Johnson.
She was in the show, right?
Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. She played the mom.
She played Ellie's mom.
Do you think? Because I've seen her and other stuff, but I think she looks a lot like Bella Ramsey. They resemble each other.
Yes,
their facial features.
When they picked Bella to play, I go, "Oh fuck, that kind of looks like a young Ellie." There.
It does.
So I was like, "Yes," and she's a great actress. I know from Game of Thrones how a badass she was. So yes, I saw that and I was like, "Yes, perfect." And then when they picked Pedro Pascal, I was like, "A Hispanic, Joel Miller." Okay. Okay.
I mean, he looks like...
They kept saying Joel Miller Light, because I guess Miller Light is like... Richard Miller Light.
Well, we always say Buzz Light beer.
Yeah.
Buzz Light beer, too.
Buzz Light beer, yeah. I like that.
Ricardo's always like, no, Mom, it's Buzz Lightyear. I was like, okay, it's Buzz Light beer.
Yeah, that's what we said, Buzz Light beer. No!
Yeah, my older brothers used to always say C3O. Instead of C3PO, and I used to always try to correct them.
It was my mom did that too.
Yeah,
C3O,
C3PO.
That's funny.
So,
but Last of Us, I give it a 9.5 out of 10.
Yeah, I'd probably give it like 11.
I would give it 11 out of 10, but
10 out of 10.
Ted Lasso's out right now, and he's another daddy.
So even though we won't talk about that one, I feel like that was Ted Lasso. An amazing show to come out during COVID when everybody was scared and paranoid and depressed and alone. And I feel like, but it's just it's such a feel good show.
Yeah, it's so funny. It's so character driven. It's so morale. Cause it
makes you feel good.
Yeah, it does. Cause it's like people didn't know who he was and he didn't know anything about soccer. And all he cared about was like the men. Mm-hmm. And building their character and their trust. Mm-hmm. And once he did that, then they became good players, and then he could coach them. Mm-hmm. And so I just love that part about him and how he went about his way. And his story is really, really sad. Mm-hmm. And he's such a positive person.
Blair and I, we cried hard on that episode.
Yeah.
I mean, it's relatable, and I mean, every time I'm on the podcast, I segue into mental health.
Right, and I'm totally okay with that.
And that because I just feel it's very important. Steven sees a therapist. I see a therapist. I think everybody should talk to somebody.
I mean, I think I'm going to do it too. I mean, I think I'm pretty good at talking about my feelings. At least I think I am. I don't know. Maybe I'm not. But I think eventually I will see a therapist. But But I think I try to be open with y'all and how I feel. And
there's a lot of stuff that just gets baked into your cake and pushed down, and you block it out and you don't know that you've blocked it out. And then you have to go back and kind of pull it back up to process it.
The way I see it is there's stuff that we hold back to people that we love. And it's not because we don't trust or love or, it's just something that we just hold back. It's an instinct.
Well,
but when you talk to a stranger who different. It's a therapist, it's different. All of it comes out.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised, Robert.
You don't have nothing to lose, right?
Because you're Steven's rock.
Yeah.
So you don't ever want to seem vulnerable because you're his stability as his father, and so you're his rock. And so I don't feel like you fully would unleash, because there's also times where people are like, well, I don't want to tell you what I've been through because I don't want to put my burdens on you.
Right. Well, I know when I was in recovery, I know I opened up a lot to Steven on. He saw me he saw me in some spots that I, number one, I'm not proud of, but I'm glad he saw it, because I'm not.
And you got to give yourself some grace too, because you're human.
Yeah. So he saw me. I think you saw me at the worst spots I could be in, and
you're human.
I saw you at a low spot, not only physically but mentally. Yeah. And I think the mentally part scared me, because nobody wants to go through that change. And I know you have many thoughts, because I would have probably thought the same thing. Where do I go from here?
Right.
And if I can't move and do stuff that I normally did as a normal person,
right?
Is it worth it?
Yeah.
Is it worth it? And that's the part that scared me the most.
And never giving up, and faith in God. And Steven, you're grounded. You said GD like 3 times.
I did?
Yes, you did. It's a habit. Yeah, on the podcast, you said it.
God damn, I did.
Robert needs to take it out. No, just kidding. Stop it. Anyways, I don't even know what I was saying.
I was talking about the song "Goddamn" from
no,
Avenged
stop saying
Sevenfold.
it.
It's a song from Avenged Sevenfold.
Sheesh.
I know. He's your husband, man.
He needs some Jesus tomorrow or Sunday.
Control him.
But what were we just talking about?
We're talking about
ADHD.
Persevering and stuff.
Because with anything, I mean, I've said this all along, that a lot of people would milk that. A lot of people would take it as a death sentence, milk it, live on disability for the rest, and just give up. And then there were thoughts of like, that you needed to file for disability because we didn't know. We didn't. It's like, oh crap, but you didn't. You kept your job the whole time. You pushed through. Physical therapy was like more like a workout, a hardcore workout, because you didn't just do a stretch or two. You did more.
Right.
And so, I mean, that right there, people can take away, like your heart can stop. You can almost die. But if you keep going and you don't give up and you work through it, then it can be okay. Because
there was a point in time where I was not happy with my progress when I was at home, and my older brother Raymond was trying to get me to do the podcast, and I said, no, I'm not ready to do it. And he says, because I want to get you back on your feet. I said, dude, I want to focus on me. I don't want to focus on. And then Terry Kegel reached out to me, like on Messenger, and he said, hey man, I've been listening to your show. I really dig it. I want you to come on my show. And I didn't know this. I didn't know who this dude was. And I listened to a couple of his shows. I go, okay, he's pretty good. And I reached back out to him and I said, okay, all right, I'll go ahead and do your show. And so I did his show. I pulled all the gear out, which I haven't done in a while. Raymond had to go to the garage and go looking for it. Pulled all the gear out. I did his show. And then last year, we did a show with Terry Kegel. And Steven, I didn't really tell you this, but I told Terry while we were interviewing him, I said, dude, you kind of saved me.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't going to do a show ever. I didn't think I was going to do it because I wasn't happy with the progress I was making. And I was just not a happy person. And so when I did your show, I felt better. I felt great. I felt good about myself. And I wanted to thank you. I told him that, and he was like, "Oh man," I think he wanted to tear up, and he was like, Man, I did not know that.
Terry's a good dude.
I said, he goes, I didn't know, and I didn't even tell you about that, Steven. I don't think I did, but
well, no, that's the beauty about this. The podcast is just like therapy in a way.
Yeah,
because whenever I was going through that dark time with Dart, and I was just having panic attacks every morning, having nightmares at night, seeing Victor, sleep apnea was strong at that time. And you were all like, hey, you want to be on the show? We'll bring the stuff over there. And I was all like, yeah. And then when I talked, everything spaced out. I wasn't thinking about it. That was the first time I wasn't thinking about thinking about that.
Chris couldn't do a show then, right? Yeah. And I think it was a blessing in disguise. Mm-hmm. So, and I think, Blair, you were at work. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think that episode that we did, Ash's mic was off the whole time.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I didn't mess it up.
I didn't hit the green button on it.
Oops. Is my mic on?
It is. It's green. See, look, it's green.
Okay.
All right, we can hear you.
You know, looking at that board is really pretty because of the colors. And I don't know if you've got ADHD, you could be like, oh, pretty colors.
Yeah, that's some good stuff on here.
You still got the sound effects set up?
Of course.
Of course. Your house is haunted, homie.
My babies.
Bigfoot Club for life, homie.
Oh.
Bigfoot is real, man. Your house is haunted, homie. Come on, man.
I got a couple more.
Too sweet.
Yeah, I love that one.
Oh.
Too sweet.
Oh. Yes, they can always come on here. You can always talk about their stuff.
Right.
Kids are awesome. Mm-hmm. That's
cool. We're at 52 seconds. Woo. So we didn't even talk about Bigfoot stuff.
No. Hey, Bigfoot is real. Okay, there you go.
Bigfoot is real, man.
Yeah. Bigfoot is real.
So
man.
I need to ask you guys a couple questions.
Okay,
it was your last episode that you were talking about Bigfoot sex, right?
Yeah, yes.
Oh my goodness.
So we are going to talk about Bigfoot stuff. Okay.
You brought it up. No, we didn't bring it up.
No, I thought that was hilarious.
Go.
I
yeah.
That's good. But yeah.
What were you going to ask about?
I mean, I was clarifying. I was like, I'm pretty sure they were talking about Bigfoot sex.
We didn't even plan on that, did we?
No, did it on the fly.
I guess the scientific mating, Bigfoot mating. I don't know how you make that. More professional.
They got to have sex because there's countless of stories of Bigfoot's like talked about carrying babies, Bigfoot babies. So they got to have sex, right?
And
I don't know because snails don't always have to have.
Does the pregnancy is it like us too? Like
right.
7, 8 months, 9 months? Like,
oh, what is it? Like an elephant is pregnant really long or something? I'd have to Google it again. There's some facts on that.
Yeah, because like one of the stories I was researching back in 1992, and I'm just kidding. back in the early days, there was a lady, Deborah Thornton. She was almost pulled out of her vehicle by a Bigfoot, and 2 other Bigfoots came out to stop that. The male Bigfoot, one of them was pregnant. She said and I said, they were females? She goes, yeah. I go, how can you tell? Because they had breasts.
Oh, wow.
And one of them had a big belly.
Oh.
And so they gotta have sex. That's what I'm thinking. They gotta have sex. So,
do you remember that time where I did that pun and you were all like, "I want to make Cajun. I want to make Cajun food because the Cajun food is so good." And I go, "Yeah, that way you can make it occasionally."
Oh my goodness! This is my husband, folks. This is what I do.
/
I
Ellie.
was so proud that I put that exact verbiage on Facebook. It had so many likes.
Yes.
Bella
job.
Facebook, you remind me. Okay, everybody who listens to this podcast needs to go subscribe to Steven on Twitch.
Oh,
yes.
Jeez. I thought you were going to plug in Bigfoot Club.
Bigfoot Jones.
Bigfoot Jones.
Bigfoot Jones. I like that.
I like that too, yeah.
Big Boy Jones.
Big Boy Jones 2029.
And that's your handle? Is that what they call it?
Handle, yeah.
It's your handle.
Yeah. I posted, like whenever you go on, I post it. So.
Yeah, and that is beautiful and awesome. But I mean, there are so many people that love Steven and can just listen to his puns and listen to his jokes. And I guess I'm a little biased. But
I listen to it every night. So.
Robert's like, I lived with him for so long.
I always tell him, I go, throw that Axie throw that axie thingy.
Yeah.
And that's funny. That's hilarious when I see that. But most of the time I do have it turned the other way because I'm focusing on work.
Yeah.
But I want my viewer to be there. But if you like close your phone screen, it goes away. Mm-hmm. So I have to keep it on the phone screen, but then I just flip it over to focus on work. Yeah. But yeah, that is funny when I do see it.
But yeah, no, it's a perfect, God of War Ragnarok is a perfect game because it's serious. It's kind of funny because of the Kratos trying to lighten up, and
that's a stress reliever.
He's
therapeutic.
got that deep voice, yes.
Yeah, I kind of want to lead into the Facebook page because we just went over 12,000 followers and 11,000 likes.
Woohoo. That's amazing.
Yeah, just the last 2 months, I've had probably like 30 posts go viral.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever done it too, where you've asked your followers on your Facebook what they want you to talk about?
I know whenever I'll just say this, whenever we have a guest, I ask, if you have any questions, go to this thread and ask questions. And there've been a few people, not a lot, but I think since we've gone up this high, we probably would get it. And I probably need to post that about what kind of topics they want us to talk about. So
that made me think of a question. What is the most off the wall, random Bigfoot story that you have been, just weird? Like,
I think we already
really
discovered or talked about that.
Yeah, we talked about the glowing penis.
The glowing penis.
Oh my God, it really is about penis.
I'm serious. That's a weird.
No. What the one that really got us was 2 episodes ago.
Yeah,
it was before Chris. It was with Matt, where the woman. I told you about this off show, where a woman was in the woods camping. They had not a tent, right? It was like
it was like a RV.
RV.
She had 2 smaller children.
Yeah, and then they were taking a nap. She heard some screaming outside.
Or wailing.
And she went outside, left her kids. I wouldn't do that.
She locked the door.
Locked the door. Okay. And she went to where she followed the screaming, and she said that she saw a hurt junior Bigfoot, like a smaller Bigfoot, and his leg was like the other way.
Contorted or compound fracture or something.
And there was blood everywhere, and it was screaming. And that was the first time me and Rob have heard so many stories. That was the first time we heard a hurt Bigfoot.
Yeah, it's like actual injured Bigfoot.
And we're all like, are you fucking serious? Like, really? And then she said that's when she was getting close to it, something growled at her, yelled at her behind her. And then when she turned around, a Bigfoot jumped over her. And then picked up the baby Bigfoot and then
took off. But she told Matt on the story. Matt wasn't going to say this until I brought it up. But when she jumped over the start, Matt asked her a question because was it a male or female? And she said it was a male because she saw its scrotum. So Matt wasn't going to talk about it until I said it. So.
Yep.
And then that's what led into the whole Bigfoot sex conversation.
Maybe I don't know.
Kind of, yeah.
That's Bigfoot Club. We kind of do stuff like that.
Random
Bigfoot Club, baby. No, that is like the off the wall, like the most.
That was a strange one. I've interviewed hundreds of people, and I've talked to different people about stories. I've read stories. I've read books. First time I ever heard a story about an injured Bigfoot bleeding.
Yeah.
First time. So
because we've heard Bigfoot being killed,
hit by a train,
18-wheeler truck. Here's one that's off the wall and weird because I don't think I've ever asked this, and I usually do this almost every episode. Do you think Bigfoot has a sense of humor? Do you think Bigfoot laughs? And if it is is it creepy, terrifying, or is it like, oh, it sounds like someone laughing?
I don't think I've ever heard a story of that. I mean, strangest story I've heard about a Bigfoot. This was actually a Yowie.
What's the difference?
Yowie is a Bigfoot that's in Australia. That's what
they have different names and different.
Different.
And then like a Yeti is where it's really cold.
It's in Asia, like in the big mountains up in Asia.
Okay.
So it's really cold. So
skunk ape is Florida.
Skunk ape is Florida.
Florida, yeah.
Why is Florida so weird? What the hell?
I don't know. We gotta call Marie Dumont and ask her that question.
Yeah, she would.
But I mean, I've never been there. I would love to visit. Nothing against Floridians.
Strangest story I've ever heard
with a Yowie.
I was told by this gentleman. I don't know if he's passed already, but he was an older gentleman. But he told me a story a long time ago, probably like in early 2000s about. And this was early, I think, 1800s. There was this guy riding on horseback, like in the bush, and he came across a Bigfoot around a bend, and he was describing the Bigfoot, how it looked, and he said whenever the gentleman and the horse saw the Bigfoot, the horse was startled, jumped up a little bit. He had to calm his horse down. This Bigfoot waved at him to come. That was the strangest thing I ever heard. It was like waving his hand, like, "Hey, come here." And that was the strangest one.
That's creepy. Actually.
It is creepy.
Like,
So
no.
If you spend time studying gorillas and apes and monkeys,
right,
does that give you more research to what Bigfoot would be like in his mannerisms?
Yeah, because actually, Diane Fossey and Jane Goodall. Jane Goodall gets asked a lot of questions about Bigfoot, and I've read some of her stuff, and so I used a lot of it when I was doing research. So some of her stuff was about, and Steven, I did this when we were in Concho, Oklahoma, when we were in the woods with Todd Partade. One of the things that I read about Jane Goodall is that she says that chimps and mostly chimps, whenever they were content, they used to go. They would do that. And so when I was in Concho and we were in the woods, I was constantly doing that. I don't know if you recall that.
I do recall that.
And I was doing it. And anytime I'm in the woods that I go upon a story that Bigfoot was aggressive, that's what I do in the field. So I use a lot of her stuff. And so whenever you read some of her stuff, she talks about silverback gorillas giving off a pungent smell whenever it feels threatened, or it has another male in the area that it feels threatened, or maybe a human or something. Bigfoots do the same thing too. They give off a pungent smell.
That anteaters do it too, because you don't want to eat something that smells like shit.
Right. And you just want to go.
Right.
Skunk too.
Skunk.
Yeah, skunk.
It's called skunk ape because
they stink.
Because they stink and they're ape.
So yeah, that's actually a really, really good question.
Wait, which
Thanks.
one? The question about, if you take what apes.
Oh, not my question about the humor? Okay. Cool.
No, Steven. No, but I feel like they have to have some kind of fun, because even like monkeys, gorillas, apes, they play. They throw their poop. They They play. They interact.
And they do laugh.
Yeah, because like the story of Albert Osman, the guy that got, like in the 30s, he got kidnapped by a Bigfoot. He was in his sleeping bag in British Columbia, and he got taken up up a mountain for I think a couple weeks.
Oh, that's crazy.
And his story that he writes, and he swears up and down it was a true story. He went to a newspaper. He said that the two young Bigfoots, it was a male and a female, they were playing games. And the games they were playing was they were bouncing on their butts. I'm serious. That's what he wrote. They were bouncing on their butts.
Yeah.
They were bouncing up and down. Like the male Bigfoot would grab his feet, pull it off the ground, and bounce. See how far he could bounce. And so that was strange, right?
So what happens when you don't have a
I did
PSP
that on a
or
trampoline. Like when you 1, 2, 3, boom, and you land on your butt, and then it springs you back up, and you stand up.
Yeah. I never got to play on the trampoline.
Really?
Never.
Don't worry. When we have a house, I'll make sure that you jump on a trampoline.
I don't know if I can do it. So.
Well, we just take them to one of those the places that we took the boys, where there's like the trampoline park.
Yeah, I went there, but I was barely walking. That
was understandable. You were
that's so uneven too. Like unless you're like stretched and ready to, even trying to walk on the side of those trampolines at a trampoline park.
Because remember, Ricardo got hurt because he stepped wrong. He was jumping wrong. He stepped wrong. He
was following this little girl. Do you remember that? Mm-hmm. This really pretty little girl. He was just following her wherever she went. I thought that was cute.
Yeah.
They're adorable when they talk about little girls.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're all like...
Sebastian's going to marry, Aria and Ellerin or...
Gemma.
And well, he doesn't talk to me about Gemma, but it could be because I'm never around Gemma. Yeah. And so that kind of thing.
I ask him about Gemma's mom all the time.
Oh, goodness. Gemma's mom has got... No, oh, gosh.
But...
edit that out.
I was gonna say that I bowled last week and my calf's been killing me all week. like really, really bad.
It's a workout when you don't do it.
And at the Forum in Grand Prairie, and I was just thinking to myself, I said, yeah, it's bowling. I should be all right. And I like the first ball I threw, I lost my balance, and I got scared, and I had to gather myself, because like whenever you bow, you throw it and you slide with your left foot, and your right foot goes under you. Mm-hmm. And so I think it took me like an hour
to get it back.
Yeah. But by then, my ankle was telling me, hey, you're not supposed to do this. This hurts.
Yeah.
And so my calf was hurting all week long. I've been stretching it. But it turns out that bowling alley, the Forum in Grand Prairie, is haunted.
What?
Yeah, it's haunted, because whenever I walked in, I had a really, really weird feeling of EMF. Like I got bombarded by EMF. Huh. And I didn't say nothing. Caitlin, my coworker, grew up in Grand Prairie. And she's been going to that forum since she was like a little girl. Mm-hmm. And so whenever we were done, I went up to go, take my shoes up to the front desk, and I asked the guy at the desk, I go, is this place haunted? And he takes a big sigh. He goes, yeah, we've had like 3 people die here. Are you serious? He goes, yeah, the owner died here, and so their lady and this other dude, and I go, really? So he's telling me all these stories and stuff. So I think he wants us to go investigate it.
Ah, looking for the one.
You guys have any shout outs?
I want to do a shout out, because I forgot to say it when we're on the subject. Shout out to Carrie, because he was the one that pushed me to watch Ted Lasso. And for some odd reason,
does he listen to this show?
I don't think
I don't think so.
I don't think he does. But still going to do a shout out, because Ted Lasso changed my life.
Yeah, it is. It is a good show.
He kept asking me, I think for a month straight, hey, have you watched Ted Lasso yet? I go, no, I haven't.
I do that to a lot of people at work.
I don't have Apple Plus.
I do that at work too.
And he kept saying, it's about soccer. I go, you don't even like soccer. He goes, I don't, but there's more to it. It's a feel good show, and I really think you would like that. And this was already, season 2 already happened, so I think there were some things in there about therapy that he knew that I would relate to.
Sorry.
What's going on over there?
I was trying to just put it back there, but it kept falling.
I was trying to interrupt Steven and make
sorry,
some
babe. I mean, non-babe, because you're single.
I'm single. Definitely right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, shout out to Carrie for pushing me. And then I was like, when I saw the show, I was like, Robert's really gonna like this show. First episode, I knew. I was like, he's gonna love this show, because there's so many movie references on here. I was like, he's gonna love the show. I know he is.
Because this is Bigfoot Club, man. That's what we do.
We talk about Last of Us. Talk about Ted Lasso.
We talk about.
I joined, ADD random, but book club at my job. That's really actually fun.
What's the first book?
So the first book is Who Moved My Cheese, and it's pretty much, it's a very small book, very easy read.
Who moved my cheese?
Who moved my cheese? I'm
that's
pretty
actually
sure
a pretty good reference.
Or who moved the cheese? Here, I can make sure I'm saying it right.
My coworker Caitlin Gonzalez would probably love that, because she loves cheese. She always talks about cheese all the time.
It's not what you think on the cheese part.
I know, but she just loves cheese.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So Who Moved My Cheese? Dr. Spencer Johnson. It's very short. You can read it in an hour.
It's 97 pages.
Yeah. But no, it's an amazing way to deal with change in your work and in your life.
I like it.
And it's, I don't want to spoil that for everybody. I want people to get their own takeaway from it without me
the main
telling
character
them.
dies.
But
he doesn't talk about his feelings.
it's relatable, and it's change is going to happen no matter what you do, no matter where you are,
right,
professionally in life,
personal, career,
all
that. It really touches base from what I gathered.
You have to adapt to the change. If you stay stuck in your old ways and you're not adapting and finding new ways to find cheese, then you're never going to grow.
So you're basically saying that they have to be like the Undertaker. Right? He changes all the time. So.
Is that a wrestling reference?
It is a wrestling reference.
That's good that you made.
No, there are so many times I'm like, that's wrestling, that's WWE, that's NXT, that's AEW,
that's pretty good,
this
man.
This comes on this date, and I'm like, it's because I lived with Robert. Mm-hmm. But there's nothing wrong with people who like wrestling.
I will say this. It is like it's a soap opera for men, or people that like, because there's There's
Hokey
storyline
drama.
There's storylines in it. Some of it's really funny. And Steven, you can attest to this. Some of the storylines are pretty funny.
Yeah.
And some of them are really good. Like
Is that what you're trying to make me say something positive?
No, because you liked that one Kevin Owens and Elias story.
Yeah.
So you love that one.
I'm not watching WWE. I just want to point that out. I'm not watching WWE. I'm sorry, Logan. Logan's like he has this implication that I watch. He
doesn't watch
Logan.
WWE either.
Well, he makes WWE references, and I just happen to know because of you.
Why are we sweating so much?
Because it's hot.
Like, we touch each other, we just create, like, pulls us. Okay, the podcast doesn't need to know all that.
No, they do not.
Pulls a sweat.
Anyways.
But anyway, there's some funny storylines on there, and I was like, oh, wow, they actually got something good there.
So, shout-outs. Do you have any shout-outs?
I said my shout-out.
Yeah, okay.
What was the thing that y'all kept saying a couple weeks ago?
Shout-outs.
We were talking about Australians wouldn't let us end the show. We say that. I was kidding.
I was like, what? No, it was something like, it bugged Matt.
Oh, we were saying, sounds like Bigfoot to mine.
Oh, yeah. I was like, sounds like Bigfoot to me. Oh,
for shout-outs, I would say watch Steven on Twitch. He's getting back on it. Please go watch Steven. Stay on there. Even if you put your phone down because everybody's busy, leave it running. Get Steven followers. He is affiliated.
Subscribe to him.
And then, of course, hashtag what I stand for, mental health. Go get therapy. Everybody needs therapy.
Everybody needs it.
Nobody is above it, especially men who are strong and, hoorah, go get some therapy. Don't be afraid to take an antidepressant or anxiety medication.
Nothing wrong with it at all.
It actually shows strength and just, take care of your mental health and take care of yourself. And
it's easy to ignore it. It's harder to
face it
and go with it. So,
and that's with everything. I mean, if it's not hard, you're just complacent.
Right.
You got to keep pushing yourself. And I'd say that's some like Ted Lasso logic right there. But, and then I love everybody. I want everybody to be happy, healthy.
Okay.
So that's.
Do you have any shout-outs?
Yeah, Cassandra, Tony, Caitlin, Candace, Courtney, my mom.
How is Grandma?
She's good. She's really good. She's taking a shower now and she's happy. So she's taking a shower every day now. So there was a period.
Yeah, like I.
Well, because she was health stuff.
There was a period where she didn't have enough strength to get to the shower.
People who don't know, who are not watching, who don't know what's going on,
right with her.
Oh, she showers now. What do you mean?
And
I get your point.
Oh, I do have a shout out. I have a shout out for Robert because Robert takes care of everybody in his family, hands down. There's so many times that Robert has been over here and literally put out a fire on the stove in less than 10 seconds. And I mean, Robert takes care of everybody.
Caught a roach with my bare hand before Ricardo could see it.
Yeah.
He was at the hospital every single day with his mom. He still goes over there almost every single day. He takes care of a lot of people, and
he built the shelf in my master bedroom.
It's just you deserve that recognition. And
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Sometimes you do need to take more time for yourself.
Yeah, that's why I went bowling. That's why I went bowling. So
yeah, and that's like one time in like 6 years.
Yeah.
But as self-care, you got to take care of yourself too.
Yeah.
Do you believe in ghosts?
I do believe in ghosts.
But more importantly, I think they should believe in themselves.
Oh, I have my shout out to Cassandra, Tony, my mom, my brothers and sisters, love them. Caitlin, Candace, Courtney, Big Dog, Felipe Mendoza, Two Live Crew, yeah, and of course Matthew, Reginald, Bartholomew Nappers with Bigfoot Crossroads.
Sounds like Bigfoot to me.
Yeah, he's gonna love that.
Oh Lord, Blair's saying it too.
Hey, if you can get on to me being an alcoholic, then I can get on it.
You can't make Blair say that too.
That's my impression of mad. That's gonna be like so mad. Oh, so you did an impression of me, eh? Huh?
Why does he sound like Hannibal Lecter?
Or no, I was trying to do like a 1930s gangster.
Okay.
Yeah, let's see how many downloads. If you get a lot of download from me, I'll keep thinking of random stuff to come on here and say.
That's awesome. So
yeah. Yeah.
So did you listen to the last show, right? You listened to the last show? Or parts of it, or no?
No.
Because Chris was on it.
She
We haven't had Chris on
like Chris. Chris is awesome. But no, I have not listened to the last show.
Because Chris hasn't been on the show in a while. Mm-hmm. Steven and Chris have never done a show together because
what?
Yeah, because back in the day it was me, Ash, and it was Chris. It was supposed to be Steven. Mm-hmm. Steven was my number one draft pick for the show. Okay, I'll just say that. I'll say
right.
I'm open with that. Is that he was, and then you guys had the babies.
Yep.
So he couldn't do the show. So I asked Steven Tucker, and that lasted one episode. One episode, and then I had to ask him to leave, and then I asked Chris, and then like the last person that I asked was Ash because she was living with me at the time, and I said, okay, do you mind being a backup if Steven can't make it? And then Steven couldn't make it all the time. So then she stepped in, and then it was me, Steven, and when it was me, Ash, and Chris. Mm-hmm. And when Chris couldn't make it, I'd ask Steven, I said, hey, can you come on and do the show?
So it was never together.
Right. They were never together at all.
Yeah, so. I didn't even notice that until you pointed it out. I go, oh, shit, yeah, you're right.
Because like you hear the show so much, you don't even know whether you did a show with somebody, right?
Exactly, yeah.
So, so yeah, Chris was on as a guest. Mm-hmm. So what? What's so funny?
Robert's a mean girl, guys.
What?
He has to have like approved
He's losing it.
people.
He's losing it over there.
Oh my god,
Steven, what's going on? Hey, talk it up.
You have to be inducted. You have to pass a drug test. You got to jump on one leg.
He's gonna pass out.
Jeez.
Just the way you said it.
What?
As a guest. Oh, okay.
No disrespect.
We can edit that out.
No, I love Chris. Chris is a good dude, but he's busy. He's a busy guy. Juan was a part of this show. Juan did great, but Juan is busy.
Mm-hmm. And that's the thing that I was going to say about the whole why, Steven couldn't do it is because I didn't have to tell Steven to be a dad. Right. I didn't have to tell him to do anything. Steven just did it naturally. I
didn't pressure him about it either.
And he just was like, I got to
I asked him, hey, can you do the show? And he goes, no, I can't. Okay, cool. But I knew once he got on the show, I knew we were going to take off. So, I mean.
Yeah. And I mean, the same thing with like gaming. Like Steven's a huge gamer. When we had the kids, I didn't tell him to stop gaming. He just put the kids as his first priority, as any father should.
And he still does.
Yep. So that's why we've got Sebastian on camera, making sure that he's okay over here.
So, but everything's great. I think this is going to be a great season. I still want to get Brett Carson's on, the Haunted Medium. Mm-hmm. I still want to get Luke Gross on. I still want to get the Goo Girls Paranormal from San Antonio. I want to get them on.
We need to get Dumb Blonde, Bunny XO, Jelly Roll's wife. I'm just saying.
I don't even know who that is. You're like speaking Japanese to me right now.
Yeah.
Sama, sama, sama.
Sounds like Spanish to me.
I'll teach you who it is. There are some pretty awesome people out there.
So I want to get them on. I'm going to get this guy on. I haven't talked to you about this, Steven, but his name is Adam Larson. Mm-hmm. He runs a Bigfoot group. It's called the I'm probably going to get this wrong, Adam, and I apologize. But it's probably called the Bigfoot Movie Appreciation Circle.
Oh, okay.
So he does like he has almost the biggest collection of Bigfoot movies.
Oh, wow.
And he's always like reviewing them all the time. So I want to talk to this guy.
Perfect guy for me to talk to about that one fucking movie that I can't think of the name of.
Yeah,
we talk about it all the time where the Bigfoot, the plane crashes.
Oh yeah, it's the one with Bishop. The one with Bishop in it, right?
I think it's him or Peter Fonda. I can't remember who it is.
They're both like the king of B movies.
Yeah.
Fonda, don't you make you wanna?
But yeah, no, he probably knows what movie.
He probably does.
He's like, oh yeah, I own a special edition.
So. Yeah, we're probably going to get him on. So, it's going to be a good season. It's going to be a great season. Yeah. So.
And Bunny XO.
No.
Dumb Blonde.
No.
Yes.
No, I'm good.
It doesn't matter that she's a porn star, okay?
Does it?
I'm kidding.
Does it? My mom listens to this show, man.
So
You're in trouble now.
So
You were talking about Bigfoot sex the last episode. No, oh yeah.
And then Blair brought it up again.
Yeah.
And she talks all this horrible stuff, but then she can't say GD.
I thought she was an innocent girl.
yeah.
That's what a lot of people think. No. Yeah, just
Shout outs.
know my audience. No.
Shout outs. Got you
If
back.
there's one thing I
Got you
can
back.
do.
I got him back.
Gotcha, bitch.
Got you, bitch.
If there's one thing I can do, I can keep it going and
Yeah.
talk. And that's why I say Texas goodbyes, because I am the worst
We're
at
at
trying to say goodbye.
we're at 1:30.
Oh my
So-
goodness.
So it's probably like a minute and
15.
maybe.
Yeah. Maybe.
But yeah, so do you do a Texas goodbye, Robert?
I don't even know what that is.
So like you get your keys and you plan on leaving whatever social
Your
event.
belongings, everything.
You just ring the keys.
And you're like, all right, I'm about to go.
So you're like trying to leave, but you're not. You
Yeah.
say bye to everybody. You're stuck there for like 30 more minutes, and you're hugging and talking, and
No, I try to go. I don't.
you just get the fuck out.
I mean, I like people, but I don't like people. If that makes sense. So
yeah.
But yeah, being social and being someone who wants to,
I think-
make rounds.
I think once I get my own place, and hopefully soon, I'm gonna be that guy. I'm gonna be. See you later. All right, I'm gone.
Well, I know for sure
Just
that whenever
disappear.
I know for sure what you're gonna do the first night at 6 p.m.
Sleep.
Everything's packed. I got my own room. I'm gonna go to bed right now. Robert, it's 5:30. I don't care. I'm going to bed.
There's a story behind that, y'all.
So
There is a story, but we don't have time for that. Shout outs.
Fine.
Shout outs.
I'm getting
outs.
shut down. I'm gonna come up with like a list of random stuff to ask or talk about or something.
Yeah. Let me see here. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I think we're good. So I think I can do something with this show.
Yeah, I know you can.
I mean, you've been doing something with this show.
Oh yeah, I forget.
How is your insurance stuff going?
We're not talking about that right now.
Yeah, we can ask about that whenever we're
We
done with this episode.
We can talk about it off shows.
Yeah. Yeah. So, shout outs.
Sorry, I was fake laughing there.
Was it fake?
No, it was real.
There's a TikTok guy or someone who does that, and it's like so fake that it's annoying.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
He tries way too hard to get the. I mean, gosh, what? No.
What was that?
I don't know. My voice is broken.
Oh, okay.
But I do have to work tomorrow all day.
Okay.
Yay.
All right.
All
Well,
right.
everybody say good night. Good
Good
night.
night.
Good night and good luck.
luck.